Hi everybody and welcome to another day with Serene Education. It's the 19th of October 2012 and I'm going to be looking at the Euro to start with out of four majors this morning. Let's have a look and see what's been happening. Daily yesterday, consolidation. I knew it was as we head into the 13-1500 we were likely to see some sort of consolidation, and sure enough yesterday we had this little bearish engulfing candle at the top side here of prior resistance. We have seen back in the mid part of September. So where's it likely to go to now? Well, short term we could see price pulling back towards the 1300 mark, if anything. The other part we could see is potentially, if the sentiment still remains positive, is to see price now consolidating where it's currently trading at the moment. Now you can see that near term price is now finding a kind of support at the low of yesterday's candle at the 13.05 mark, and if price can remain above that level, then we could see price returning to those levels here at 13-1500 quite soon. The other scenario would be if we see price breaking below that 13, that current consolidation. Now you can see on the 4 hour, for example, you can see the last couple of hours in particular, price has been very indecisive. We have a doji and a spinning top, or spinning top and a doji the last 8 hours, and that coming in time now with a prior resistance level here that we saw just previously. So a nice little breakout above the 1300 mark, failing as we head into that's 13-1500 mark, which happened to be a prior high, and now we've seen the consolidation pullback. RSI is still above 50 on our 4 hour time frame. All the moving averages, including the 20 period moving average, which is acting as a nice little support near term, are still there. So if price can remain above 1305 for today, for this morning in particular, then let's see if price can actually take that momentum then and drive it to the upside towards the close of play of this afternoon going to the US session. If that fails to materialize and we see the next 4 hour candle closing lower than 1305, then we should be looking at the price support and resistance level, the major one being 1305 as our first target to the downside. As you can quite clearly see my hourly chart, my entry chart, you can quite clearly see that I've taken the low that we saw just recently here, consolidation low to the current high. My 23.6 February tracement area is pretty much where price is trading right now in real time. So you can see the last couple of hours since 8 o'clock GMT last night to right now, you can see how many candles have actually found support here. And the longer it goes sideways at this area, then there's more potential for price to build on the momentum. And then if that's the case, then we should see price reverting to the upside. So a lot of hammers over here, but we want to see a nice bullish engulfing candle to confirm that this is genuinely intraday support. And you can see the RSI, even though we have seen it pulling back, which is in direct influence with what price is doing at the moment, pulling back, we want to see price remaining, or the RSI remaining above 50 to confirm that. And the more she finds support above 50, then we want to see a bullish engulfing candle to confirm that as this near term is support, and then we should be looking topside for the remainder of today. On to sterling. Let's have a look and see what happened yesterday. Whoa! Bearish engulfing candle yesterday after the shooting star. I mentioned the only thing that was going to cancel this sentiment candle out yesterday was actually have a bullish engulfing candle that pushed higher than this area here of support and resistance level at roughly the 1700. Why? Because we are trading into the sentiment is just not behind this. We have a pullback, and there just hasn't been any genuine sentiment in this move to the upside recently, and this bounce over here was just pretty much near-jerk reactions personally. And I said that if we saw throughout the first part of the day price actually failing to really rally higher and to break these that area of at 1700, ideally above 1620, then for the foreseeable day, for the remainder of yesterday, we would see price moving to the downside. And sure enough, we saw last night at 8 a.m. GMT, well, close on. If you look at the 4 hour candle, we saw a lot of selling from 8 o'clock GMT last night to the downside, a lot of wicks to the upside, and sure enough, prices reverted. Pull back the last 8 hours at the underside, and now we have the 4 hour candle that's in play right now is bearish engulfing. So the next port of call would be in fact back towards the 1600, our major support and resistance long term, just below us here, not too far off, 33 odd pips away. So nice little trade to the downside, sentiment all looking negative. If you're looking at the CTC strategy though, it's not giving you a true sell signal, so you would have to move to your hourly entry. There we go, nice one to the downside. You notice the hourly entry here, you can see the institution moving average now acting as a nice clear resistance level upside, and then we've had the sell off to the downside. So fantastic for entries to the downside. We should be looking at 1600 as our first protocol because of the fact that it's a major support and resistance psychological round number as well, which is also quite important to traders out there. People would far better be in tune with nice round numbers than looking at bits and pieces as such. So this is looking fantastic to the downside. And so yeah, if you're looking for entries, it's moved a hell of a lot already, so you'd be risking quite a lot to take a profit. So you might come out with a 1-to-1 risk to reward over here. But yeah, you should be looking for further selling opportunities, and that near base should be here at 1600. On to the US dollar Swiss franc. Let's have a look at that daily, and what have you seen? Well, breakout not too long ago, a couple of days ago, and the last two candles, the last prior days, 2 days, has seen consolidation at the underside now. The one thing to remember over here is, as long as we see that price trading below this consolidated range, we'd like to ultimately see price continue to the downside. Near term, the actual sentiment is still looking negative. All the moving averages above price, and we have broken out of this consolidative range over here. It needs to now remain below this area. The longer it stays below 930, ultimately we're going to see price continue to the downside. We are seeing a pullback as we speak after this bearish breakout to the downside. However, everything's looking great for negative sentiment. We are seeing consolidation though in this negative sentiment. So here on my 4 hour, you can quite clearly see that we went into a well oversold situation where the RSI was hitting into that 30, and then we just saw price plateauing just recently and going into a very tight channel. So if you look in the 4 hour, if you're trading this intraday, or you're looking to trade the US dollar Swiss franc intraday, good luck, because there was just no movement at all. But you can quite clearly see that everything is still in favor for further shorting opportunities, because RSI is still below 50, telling us that the sentiment is still looking negative. We have lower swings. We are trading below that all-important 930 mark, which happens to be our major support and resistance. And most importantly, our institution is still above price. So direction, as you can quite clearly see here, if I just pan out on my 4 hour chart, you can see the direction is still very much negative. We're just seeing consolidation now as price is now finding a support at, well, finding support because it's now oversold near term. So what we want to do is for price just to remain below that area now at 930. My hourly charts consolidating over the past couple of days and putting back. You can see the RSI is still below 50 though, moving towards it but still below 50. And if you take the near term support and resistance levels, the trend line, you can see that from the highs recently that we saw through 10th and 11th of this month, lower swing just recently through the 14th, 15th, and 16th, you can see that we should see price starting to do something near term. We should be looking at this trend line. Intraday, you can see the histogram is very much more negative. There is one occasion here for blue, but however, you can see quite clearly here, near term, 50% still below, the line is still below 50%. We have seen near terms resistance recently on our hourly chart from 8 o'clock last night onwards. You can see a lot of resistance through here near term, and we have this trend line. So it needs to break above all of this in order for us to actually even contemplate. So we need to see a nice bullish engulfing candle on our finding support for the remainder of this morning above 925 for price to actually break out, pull back, and then kick on to the upside in the direction of the breakout, which would be up here towards that 930. So as it stands over here, the last hour candle has closed higher. We want to see now price actually finding support above this 920, otherwise it could be a fake out. RSI is still below 50 because it's telling us it's still not generally positive at the moment. We have to wait for that sentiment to come through. We are looking at the trend line now coming into play as we speak. You can quite clearly see that the trend line is in play as we speak. So just be aware that near term. Last pair of the day is US dollar Japanese yen. Let's have a look at this pair on the daily. And wow, we've seen a lot of movement last week or so. Price really finding support here at 78 and moving to the upside. Mentioned that we should see price moving towards that 79 back up towards 80 as long as price action was still in favor to the upside. Notice the short term here, you can see this histogram looking all favor to the upside. Everything that meets our criteria, break of price support and resistance level here, finding a nice support here on 78 and heading up towards these prior areas. Notice here just near to 79.10 we had a consolidation breakout yesterday, moving up towards the institution, now finding support, resistance at the 79.50 mark. Get above that, then we should be targeting next move to the upside as we head towards that all important 80 mark, which happens to be our major support and resistance level for this particular pair. So you can see price here on the US dollar Japanese yen ranging between these two parts since June of this year. Just near term we saw these highs getting a lot lower. It was being forced to the downside, there were one or two things. The longer it went sideways, the more likely it was going to find support and move higher. We had to see a break. That break never came to the downside. Histogram very much red up until that point. However, near term, we are seeing price moving higher. If it fails to get above here, then I think we're going to see further resistance here with further opportunities to see price reverting to the downside again and then targeting that 78 for the foreseeable future. So it's imperative that long term we want to see 80 being breached, get above 80, then we should be looking at 84 for the foreseeable future. However, near term, further resistance over here in this area here would confine price to this consolidative range, and then ultimately we should be looking for potential for price to revert back towards the 78 for the months ahead. Just looking at my hourly chart on this particular pair, you can quite clearly see that there's been a lot of upside movement after finding support at 78 recently. RSI spending more time above 50, telling us we should be looking for buying opportunities, and showing up we've got all those signals in our favor. One or two pullbacks along the way, but that's only normal in an upside trend. And near term, you can see as we head into towards that 79.50 mark, which happens to be our resistance level on our daily, you can see RSI now has started to wane. You can see we started to move higher, and RSI has started to go the opposite direction. So heading into the 79.50, we've seen price consolidating now, and our RSI is confirming that. So if there's any further upside movement towards that all important 80, we do need to see a nice bullish engulfing candle getting us above the 79.50, finding support, and then we should kick on for another 50 pips or so towards that 80 mark for the foreseeable future. So looking for the entry on the US dollar Japanese yen, wait for the confirmation break above 79.50, otherwise hang tight, be patient, and wait for that confirmation break. If not, we don't get it, we should see a bearish engulfing candle here, which would tell us this is now resistance, and then what we should be doing is targeting the downside. So you take the price support chart to the price swing, and then what we should be doing is looking at pre-price support and resistance levels, roughly around the 78.95 or 78.90 as our first target to the downside, back towards this trend line if we do get a bearish engulfing candle here near term. So you can quickly see it's got to be one or two things: break above, tell me it's still looking positive to upside, or bearish engulfing here, tell me this is definitely a near-term resistance and we should be targeting to the downside again, back towards the trend line here. So we should be looking potentially at a nice bearish engulfing candle. We should set up a nice intraday resistance pullback towards the 78.95 or 78.90 mark. That's it for today, guys. End of week. Hope you have a fantastic trading day today. If there are no setups, then so be it. Have a long weekend. We're going to the second day of the EU Economic Summit. So a lot of indecisiveness yesterday. Could end up being another indecisive day today. Have a look at the news, see if there's anything out there that's going to really factor into price movement. Other than that, just back up your trading with sound money management rules. Follow the rules of this particular template if you are using it. And all those out there that are looking to get into Forex trading and are interested in actually trading this particular template, we do offer courses. If you just go to our site at sereneeducation.com to see what's available. There's also the forexmadeeasy.com website for an introductory package or introductory course into Forex trading. They might be something that you might be interested in. So have a look, see what you think of it, and if you want more information, get back to us at info@sereneeducation.com. And otherwise, have a fantastic weekend with family and friends, and I'll see you first thing on Monday morning. Until then, trade serenely.